Hey, guys, sometimes I wonder if the DA is not playing chess while the ANC is playing drafts. And we won't know until it hits. What am I talking about? Well, I'm going to show you this article and show you something very interesting in this article that most people miss. Now, while I share this video, please be nice. YouTube videos have to be short, so I can't say everything there is to say. But if you desire prosperity for your country, want to live in a country you can be proud of, boast about, want to live in a country that has peace, where you end up making more money, and just have a nice life, enjoy good food, good people, good times. If that's you, then please press like and let me go ahead and share this interesting article that most people probably missed. So, good news for South Africans who acquired second citizenship. Now, on Tuesday, the Constitutional Court made a judgment, passed down a judgment that declared Section 6.1.8 of the Citizenship Act to be unconstitutional because it declared that South African citizens lost their citizenship automatically when they took another citizenship. And so the Constitutional Court said, no, that goes against their constitutional rights. So the DA launched an application in 2018, and because many citizens had lost their citizenship through the operation of the provision. So the High Court dismissed the DA in 2021. They lost the case, and the High Court said, nope, they've lost their citizenship because of blah, blah, blah legal speak. So the DA appealed it 2 years ago at the Supreme Court of Appeals, and they won. The Supreme Court of Appeals said, no, 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 no. Those citizens who've lost their citizenship by virtue of their section are deemed not to have lost their citizenship. Okay, so the matter, now they took it up to Constitutional Court to say, please confirm that the Supreme Court of Appeals is right. Follow this now. Now there's a unanimous judgment. All the Constitutional Court's judges came together and supported Judge Majid to say, yes, the fact that people lost their citizenship was unconstitutional because citizenship is a right you can't mess with. Now, here's a part you want to pay attention to. The DA said that for nearly 2 million South Africans living abroad, the victory was monumental. That got my attention. So the DA just got 2 million people who could not vote in South Africa to vote in 2029. Now, I know you thinking 2 million people, yeah, anyway, people don't vote. Let me tell you something about expats. No one is more interested in their own country like someone who no longer lives in their own country. If I'm telling the truth, I know our videos are watched by many expats. Please comment and say, yes, I follow South African news and I care deeply. No one cares about their country than someone who is not in their country. What am I saying by this? Probably people who don't live in South Africa will have a higher percentage of them voting in South Africa. And so 2 million of these people have been released to vote again in South Africa. Why does that matter? Well, take a look at this.
In South Africa with the weather, but it was in London where the sun shone down on thousands of expats lining up to cast their votes. Many travelled from across Britain to be able to take part.
To make a difference in my country, because my vote counts also, so I want to make a difference.
Well, every vote counts, I guess, so I'm glad that they're making it possible for people overseas as well.
Voters were in good spirits, despite queuing for around 2 hours to reach the front. The thousands turning up here say this is more than just an election. Many plan to return to South Africa in the years to come and hope their vote will create a better country. The votes being cast here will be sealed and sent to South Africa in the next 24 hours. They'll then be counted on the 7th of May, alongside the votes cast in the country. Dan Whitehead, SABC News, London.
And in the US, a steady trickle of voters braved the torrential rain in Washington, D.C. The embassy said there were 340 registered voters in Washington and 600 in New York.
I think it's just important to do your bit for the country, because we celebrated 20 years of freedom, and this is part of our rights, it's part of our freedom, and you need to exercise it, because I feel like you can't complain about South Africa and what's happening in South Africa if you don't actually exercise your rights. So it was one of the important things for me to do. I flew all the way from Puerto Rico.
It was fantastic. I've waited 10 years for this.
10 years, so you've been outside of the country for 10 years?
For longer, but the last time we could vote was 94.
Why are you getting emotional?
It's just great, you know.
Did you see that? How many South Africans do you know who go down the road to their voting station and vote, and when you ask them about it, they cry? You don't get that. That's the by the rivers of Babylon effect. Okay, look at this. Right now, from May 29 last year, you have ANC at 40%. They seem to be running as hard as possible for 30%. You have the DA at 21%. They seem to be running as hard as possible towards 30%. The trusted pollsters show us, who also told us these numbers before they happened. The MK has grown a little bit, and the EFF did well. All the people who stood against the VAT did kind of well. Right, so here's the thing. Let me show you something interesting about, let's go to out of country and see the people who vote outside the country. Top 3 leading parties. DA, 75%. EFF, 4%. ANC, 3.92%. Now, how many votes were valid? 39,000. So 39,000 expats who were outside and voted, 75% of them voted DA. Do you see where this is going? What does this mean? It means generally expats vote DA. Now, if the DA is able to activate expats who, from what I've just said, are the most activatable group of people in a country, that could shift quite a bit. Because look at this. Look at this. The difference between 6 million and 7 million makes a huge difference in this time that we are living in. Now, someone talked to me earlier and said, just admit it, you like the DA, there's nothing wrong anyway. And it was a black lady, so I was supposed to feel ashamed by that. It wasn't even, it was an accusation. And I looked at her and thought, but of course I like the DA. And I mean, someone's going to come in and say, you always read a scripture. You probably like the ACDP. Duh. Of course I like the ACDP. And then someone's going to come and say, when the ANC does something wrong, you go hard on them. And when the PA and the Action SA does something wrong, you go hard, but you express disappointment rather than rejection. Duh, because I'm hoping they don't play politics and end up on the wrong side. Of course I like the Freedom Front. Of course I like the IFP. Why? Because you need to understand this, that we don't have white parties and black parties and all that nonsense that Ventors tell you. We actually have two types of parties in South Africa. You have the Ventors, and unfortunately most black people think crying and whining and insulting and complaining and being victims is politics. No one's ever cried and we ended up with a new airport. No one's ever spoken about apartheid and then the economy grew. Nobody ever said white people are devils for life, all of them, and then got a job the next day. No, we have Ventors and builders. And unfortunately, in South Africa, and I'm sad to say for most of Africa, people think venting, in other words, just releasing your emotions, is politics. But no, real politics are when you build something. When you're able to say 40% of our people had no jobs, now only 20% have no jobs. We on our way to 10%. Building is when you say, we only had one stock exchange, now we have 3 stock exchanges. We have the Cape Town Stock Exchange, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, and the Durban Stock Exchange. That's what building is about. So we have 2 types of parties in the country, not white and black. We have Ventors and builders. Ventors are the ones, when they say justice, they mean jealousy. When they say equality, they mean collapse. Builders build value through economic growth. Ventors just victimize themselves constantly. Builders unleash potential, not entitlement. They don't celebrate putting 1 million people on grants. They celebrate putting 1 million people on jobs. Ventors envy success instead of learning from it. Builders insist on values over race. Ventors don't know that there are different types of black people with different interests. When Ventors listen to me, who is number 1, a pastor, number 2, a pastor, so a Christian, let's say, number 2, an entrepreneur, number 3, black, they don't know how to deal with me. You are just a sellout. Why? Because if I say anything that's in the interest of entrepreneurs, what's going on? If I say anything that's in the interest of God's values, what's going on? If they see 5 white people comment on my page, say, well done, they go, what's going on? They don't know that builders insist on values over race, while Ventors, their end is they narrate oppression to stay relevant. They've got to cry, otherwise no one listens. If President Ramaphosa, Fikile Mbalula didn't mention apartheid for 2 months, the ANC would drop down to 0. Because they have to narrate oppression to stay relevant. Builders want a limited government that protects people's freedoms. Ventors, they tear down what other people's build. If they don't tear it down, at least they rename it. They rename everything they didn't build, and in 30 years they don't build anything so that we can name it after the person who built it. Builders, the Ds, they defend the rule of law. Ventors, the E, they expand government endlessly. President Mandela, his cabinet was 16 million rands. The next president was Mbeki. President Mbeki, he went up to 325 million rands, just cabinet budget. The next president went to 600. By Msholozi, it went up to 1 billion rands a year. Continually expand government endlessly. And the salaries of government went up 3 times in that time, while the economy went down. Builders, they enable citizens through opportunity. Builders believe in their citizens. They actually believe that their citizens, if they had an opportunity, they could do something great. Ventors don't believe in their citizens. They believe that apartheid has made their citizens disabled for life. Therefore, they must rely on them. Ventors want to redistribute wealth they didn't create, but also they want to fight over crumbs and never understand builders when builders say, but let's build the bakery. Ventors, they sink, that's the S, they sink the country under slogans, under spending, under sabotage. Builders, they reward merit, not mediocrity. Ventors have no problem living in rubbish, low standards of everything, being led by low-level leaders who can't speak, who can't read, who can't finish a sentence, who've never said anything that moved anybody. They don't mind low standards of leadership. Builders want to see merit, people who speak well, do their job well, deliver well. Ventors want a gravy train. Builders want a lean, mean, citizen-serving state that clears the path for real work and real progress. Ventors just want power. They don't care about actually delivering anything. So yes, I do like all the builders. And any of them who seem like builders and then they turn up to be ventors, highly disappointing. So yes, that's why I liked Action SA before they started making me not sure if they are a venter or a builder. I liked the PA until when I wasn't sure if they're crossing the line to be a venter and not a builder. So that's why I stay in hope for them. Those are the 2 types of parties in South Africa. There we go. I've answered who I side with. Let me show you something interesting though with my biblical reaction and close. It says in Daniel 12, don't fear Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand, to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard and I have come because of your words. That was the angel. But the angel says this. The angel says, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia blocked me for 21 days. And then the angel Michael, so you realize we're talking prince to a demonic spirit being called a prince, meaning the actual prince that's in charge of a country is merely acting out and merely executing the commands of the prince above them, the spiritual prince. So when we have the ANC in charge, that is merely the human execution of the spiritual governing party or largest party that controls the ANC. Right? So the prince of the kingdom of darkness stopped an angel, obviously not a human being. The prince, meaning the spiritual prince. See, every country has 2 presidents. We have 2 presidents. The first president right now is Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa. But there's a spirit behind Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa that determines what the physical president can think and do. So the prince, the spiritual prince of the kingdom of Persia, blocked this angel for 21 days, and then he says, but Michael, one of the chief princes or archangel, we know Michael the chief angel, came to help me, for I was fighting alone with the kings of Persia. See, this is happening in the spirit. I've come to make you understand what will happen to your people in the latter days, for the vision refers to the days to come. Then he said, do you know why I've come to you? And then he says, and now I must return to fight the prince of Persia. This is an angel. Meaning what? I'm fighting the force above the force, the power above the power, the authority above the authority. I'm going back to fight the prince of Persia, and when I have gone, indeed the prince of Greece will come. But I will tell you what is noted in the scripture of truth. No one upholds me against these except Michael, your prince. Michael is an angel. Now, here's the interesting thing. He's talking about, this angel's talking about fighting kings and princes. But the funny thing is, when you go back in history, you find that there was a kingdom of Persia, and what did the Greeks do to them? Right? What happened with the princes in the spiritual realm followed in the physical realm, that one kingdom actually overthrew the other kingdom. Because what happens here is just a reflection of what's already happened in the spiritual realm. Which means what? Why is Africa struggling? Why has South Africa been on the path it's on? It's because of the governors that have been in charge. Oh yeah, I know, the ANC's been messing up. ANC is the human administrator of the actual spiritual governor. Why has all of Africa suffered so much? What's wrong with these governments? You are complaining about the human administrators of the spiritual governor. So I'm going to say something and be nice. I'm not trying to insult. I'm not trying to say anything more than what I will say. And if I don't say it perfectly, then give me some grace, because I've got to finish quickly. Who has been in charge of Africa? Who is in charge of Africa? Who is the governor of Africa before we go vote? And I can say this as an African man. If you want to describe African culture, I would give you two words. First, Ubuntu, which is shown with how I will greet a stranger, call them my brother. Bafethu. I will not walk past a Zulu, a Tswana, a Tsonga, anyone, and not Bafethu, my brothers. That goes with Ubuntu. If I'm eating and someone's hungry, I will share with them. It's Ubuntu. And that's a real governor that then expresses itself through people. Second governor is envy. Envy is a vital description of African culture. I know someone's going to insult me, but they know, listen, the only people who might be confused right now is anyone who doesn't look like me. And anyone who argues with me, it's because they're a liar. And anyone who's honest is right now looking at their screen going, because you know we are a very envious people because it is in our culture. You know it. Okay, wait. Maybe I'm lying. Maybe I'm lying. Maybe I'm off the hook. I'm just a crazy brainwashed guy who's been told by someone to say something. And you know, it's like the insults of black people are all envious. It will be like, who pays you? Because they can't lie. They look at me and think, this guy seems like he may be able to know how to make money. And they probably read my profile that said I'm an entrepreneur. Envy says they've got to say, yeah, the DA is paying you to say that, right? Because I can't allow you to actually have the ability to communicate. But I will not get that envy from Chinese people, Japanese people, anywhere. But I will get it from African people. Why? Because envy is our culture. It's not because we bad people, but it's because of the God that's above, that's in charge. But by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. Okay, so let's see if I can get 2 or 3 witnesses. Did I come up with this? No! Who's the guy on the left? His name is Mendoza. Kalagata, Agnadi, Xibade, Gituspege, Kalagata. Now, there's a song that he did with his group called Umtomnyama Kafunu Bonumtomnyama Ya Pazulu Pambili Pazulu Pambi. Let me translate it for you. A black man doesn't want to see a black man go forward or upwards. Why? A black man doesn't want to see a black man going forward or upwards. And then he goes, Marawai. It's like a cry. It's like, but why? That's a strange song to make, right? Do you think there's any person in South Africa who listened to that song and go, what the heck is Mendoza talking about? Of course not. We all just dance like, oh, dude, I feel you. I know you. Right now, you're reminding me of my friends, my family, the people on social media. This is just how we roll. The song's called Pambili Pezulu, forward, upwards. Envy. This is what people who believe in Sangomas do. Now, please, if you're not a black South African, just go watch this video started here and go to any black person in South Africa and say, okay, here's a Sangoma. They just threw bones. What do the bones say? We know. Am I doing a bad thing? I'm doing it for my country, guys. I'm not trying to expose or belittle anything, but the truth sets free. We know what the bones are saying. They're saying your wife is bewitching you because she's jealous of your new job. Your aunt, that other one, your aunt wants your kids not to pass at school. The other one next to it, you only go to a Sangoma to find out who of the envious people around you are sabotaging you. Don't make me look bad. Please go down in the comments and back me up. Please, my brothers, my sisters, back me up here. Don't leave me on your own. Please go down and say, you are definitely right. Envy is normal. Okay, let's try one more witness. How in Africa, what is the best way to find the largest audience of Africans attending something? It's not soccer. I know you think it's soccer. What if I tell you that the largest churches in Africa deal with prayers to protect from envious people around you? Those are the biggest meetings in Africa. That's a fact. Here's one prayer meeting. It's put together to literally, the prayer meeting is put together for, you are surrounded by envy. Let's pray for God's protection from the envy. There it goes. Arrows of envious enemies fired against me backfire. What's the attendance at a service just to pray for protection from envious people? It's bigger than any soccer match. It's bigger than any concert. Hear it for yourself.
With somebody recently, and the demon spoke. The demon said, "Man of God, when you asked me to leave this person, I left because I received a lot of punishment when I came to MFM. So I left this person." But the parents began to offer sacrifices to send me back. Yeah, he's a demon that has retired from work. But some people began to offer the demon sacrifice to go back. Can you shout it loud and clear? Dangerous sacrifices offered against me. Can you shout it loud? Your voice is not loud enough. Backfire in the name of Jesus.
How many people? How many people are praying? My parents.
Please.
How many people are praying? My parents better not do sacrifices to sabotage.
See that woman? Yes.
Did that sound like 1,000 people to you? No. Did that sound like 10,000 people to you? No. What's the number one thing that you can get the most Africans to come and pray about? You can't get that number praying about business. You can't get that number praying. Oh, you can get that number if you say, the people around you envy you, but if you can pray for protection, you are safe. Multitudes will show up because that is the God behind a lot of things. That's why in Africa, Marxists instantly resonate with people. The politics of envy, the politics of this one has more than this one and we need to fix the difference, always works. Why? Because that's the God, small g, that runs this place. And before I depress you too much, I want to read this and come with something positive. The politics of envy do well in Africa because the spirit of envy has been very powerful in Africa. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by his good conduct. Good conduct means good actions and good results. That his works are done in the meekness of wisdom. So what's he saying? He's saying, listen, for me to know if what you're saying is wisdom, let me see by your results. Someone says, the ANC is right. Well, let's see the results. The DA is just racist. Let's see the results. Only 20% of the people in Western Cape don't work. 46% of people in the Eastern Cape don't work. Let him show by good conduct. The books in the Western Cape balance. The books in the Eastern Cape all don't balance. So then we see by good conducts in the meekness of wisdom. Then he says, but if you have bitter envy and self-seeking, which is self-centeredness, selfish ambition, bitter envy and self-seeking. Someone said to me, they were saying, we must take the land. And I was saying, but if the what if everything collapses? This is what they said to me. They said, it doesn't matter. We can collapse it all and build it from scratch. You know, that's just bitter envy and self-centeredness, because they don't care if some baby dies in the process. He says, if you have that in your heart, do not boast and lie against the truth. That kind of wisdom doesn't descend from above. It's not godly wisdom. And it's on 3 levels. You see that? Earthly means on the physical level. Sensual, the word is actually psycho. So it's on a psychological level, the Greek word. And demonic, it's on a spiritual level. So we have just general envy at an earthly level that affects all the laws that are passed in the name of transformation. It's just envy. It's just people being jealous that some white person has a better history than them. And then you have sensual, which is psychological. That's when they put it into all the gobbledygook, the motive forces of blacks in generals and Africans in particular, and all that. Like, just make it sound smart, because you can't walk in the street saying, I'm just jealous of the ones who have more. So I don't want to grow the economy because someone who has more might have more. In fact, I asked someone the other day, I said, if you had to choose that the current billionaires will be 10 times richer, but unemployment will be at 0, or the current billionaires lose half their wealth and we only cut unemployment down by half. Guess what they chose? They chose to cut unemployment down by half. And I asked, and what happens to the other half of the unemployed? Must they just die of hunger? And they said, oh, don't put it that way. But you see, they're not aware that they are so grabbed by envy that they don't even care about the poor. They care more. They would rather the richer are less rich, even if it means the poor will be more poor. So he says, where envy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil thing are there. That's why corruption has been a consistent battle that we can't win. But now, the builders, who are not the politics of envy, their wisdom is from above. Yeah. It's first pure. They're just going for what they're going for. It's peaceable. It's gentle. You never hear them trying to say someone must suffer. Let's insult this. That's willing to yield. Meaning what? Willing to let facts convince them. Politicians of envy and self-seeking don't listen to facts because it's a wisdom that's not willing to yield. Full of mercy, genuine mercy, and good fruits. Not the mercy where you pretend to have mercy, and without partiality. That's why when builders talk about non-racialism, the envy and self-seeking fight and say, no, you want to make us forget apartheid. No, it's because they're partial. They can't have equal treatment of black and white. It's got to be at the expense of someone. And without hypocrisy. I mean, we've seen that. We've seen someone fail to drop the crime down even a little bit, but they're so passionate about justice for land, while people are dying 80 a day. Complete hypocrisy. They fail to stop women dying every day, yet they will run a big campaign because someone insulted a woman. Hypocrisy. Now, this is what we are stuck with in South Africa. But in this video up above here, I told you this. I have good news for you. It's turning around, and I explained in that video. And that spirit that runs South Africa of envy is being overthrown. It's losing grip. And I believe that the spirit of vision will take over. And if you just agree with me and type, "So shall it be." We are strengthening our voice through agreement that South Africa will prosper. I repeat, South Africa is in a position that is moving from envy to prosperity, moving from vengeance to vision, moving from politicians who've never even told us a single target of success. They only have targets of what they call equality. It's jealousy and vengeance. But South Africa is moving from vengeance to vision, from victimhood to vision, from anger to excitement. Come on, somebody type, "So shall it be." Then I will say, "In the name of Jesus." Do not remember the former things. Don't consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a road in the wilderness and a river in the desert. I expect more insults on this video than any other. It's not the people who are commenting. It's that spirit of envy, being angry that what I'm telling is truth. It is a fact. South Africa is moving to vision, to prosperity, to progress, to strength, to competence, to an army we can be proud of, police we can respect, politicians we can clap for, integrity we're gonna celebrate, economic growth that just keeps your phone ringing with new opportunities, salaries increasing, new inventions coming from this very country. Hear me and hear me well. South Africa will prosper. And I ask you to type at the bottom, "So shall it be." And so that's all I wanted to say to you today. We're going to be showing you how discerning believers instantly and confidently spot undercover comrades, even if they use twisted justice. And so go down to the description, and I'd love to see you there at that live and get to engage one-to-one. If you watch this after that's done, that's okay. Go to the description and find the next live that we are doing. And while we are still there, I want to tell you that we are doing something very special. We are actually believing, because not only is it enough for us to just be talking here and saying, "Yes, so shall it be," but we have a project. We call it the Prosperity Catalyst Fund. We want to get some material, a book that's either out or coming, depending when you watch this. We need 2.2 million rands first phase, and we're going to take a book written with young South Africans in mind to educate them so that at a psychological level, they are able to know the basics, the very basics, for how you get a prosperous country, so that they get to see through the politics of envy and know how to support politics of prosperity. And so I encourage you to go down and get involved with us. If you can just do 2 million, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I don't think that's wise. But if you can give something and you can get to watch and see our faithfulness and give more, and more and more, and we'll reach and spread this throughout South Africa, because people perish for lack of knowledge. And someone says, did you just get on a YouTube video and ask for 2 million? Yes, I did. I did, because there are two choices. And I think 2 million rands is a huge, huge, huge bargain if it makes the difference between a country that dilapidates, falls apart, and we all angry. And once we get all angry, we all just start killing each other, and we lose the whole potential with trillions. And I think 2 million is not 5% of that. It's not 1% of that. It's not even 0.1% of the loss. And so someone says, whoa, I don't have 2 million. Yes, but each of you, it could be 100 rands that you help us to get this information out. It will make a difference. It all will come together, and we'll get this done, so that by the time we get to 2029, we've shifted the thinking of people in South Africa, in every squatter camp, in every rural area, because we are going to print 1 million books and disperse them. But the first phase is that it's a 2.2 or something. So I encourage you to join the people who have come on and they've said, hey man, we hold hands with you. Let's do this. Let's get people out of ignorance. Let's weaken the leftovers of that spirit of envy throughout our country, so that people can start to realize, oh, so when they say this, they're selling me destruction. And we go and do that. And I want to thank you, because some of you may say, no, man, I can just do like 97 rands. That's fine. Please go down to the description. You will find it. You'll also find a whole bunch of gifts outside of the event and stuff that you can go down and take advantage of that. So I want to close by saying this to you, believers: no man can serve two masters, because at some point they will have to hate the one and love the other. They will have to be loyal to the one and disloyal to the other. Please do not let politics cause you to be disloyal to your faith. You cannot serve God and Karl Marx. So thank you for listening. I'm sitting here thinking, did I just say that about envy? I did. But truth sets free. It hurts first, but then it sets free. So let's make history together. Oh gosh, I gone and done did it now.